Well, hello there, and welcome back to another TosCasts podcast. This is actually a 2-year anniversary special for me, and I thought I would invite a few friends on the show for this evening. I have Spatry from Spatry's Cup of Linux. I have TWIL this week in Linux, and possibly later on, maybe IG might be able to join us. Of course, IG is in Australia. So I am, of course, Total OS today, or I guess you can call me Toast. And of course, I think you know what goes well with toast is a nice cup of coffee. Hint, hint. Spatry, are you there? You like that one, huh?
I'll throw a little Juan Valdez your way. Hope you can catch
Thank
there,
you.
right? There you
Si,
go.
senor, yes. Yes, we have Spatry, we have TWIL. This is just going to be a little semi-birthday party for me in the channel. I actually had a real birthday last week, a few days ago, March 24th. And for tonight, as I said, we have Spatry and TWIL. Just random topics, shooting the breeze, just something, a little birthday party, if you will. I have a couple topics I wanted to talk about. I actually had received a comment on, well, let me just read it to you. It says here, you said on the latest Zucrew cast that there's always something with Linux. 5 years ago, I'd agree with you, but looking at Linux distros these days, I think it's more a matter of you not being able to configure your system properly rather than every Linux being faulty and buggy as you claim. I'm not a pro Linux user either, so I know that if you try out quite a few Linux systems, put in some effort, and research a particular problem you have, 9 out of 10 times you can get it fixed. TWIL, you want to take that first?
In some ways I would agree, in some ways I would disagree. There are definitely some regressions that happen over time. Some things get better, some things get worse. At the end of the day, a large part of the problems that I do see, and I see myself and I see in other people, are hardware related, where the manufacturer or the whatever the provider is did not provide a driver to the Linux kernel developers, or didn't make a binary blob available, or didn't make a particularly good one. In my case, I'm actually using an ATI graphics card, and I've had quite a few issues getting the proprietary drivers working on it in Ubuntu.
Really?
However, after just a little bit of work, a little bit of researching, I mean, honestly, 5 minutes, I managed to get it was the dual displays that I was having issues with.
Okay.
And that was a very quick fix. Just go into the xorg.conf file and add a couple of lines to say the maximum resolution, and poof, it was all better. But I do still think that while Linux has its place on the desktop for the majority of people in terms of everyday usage like internet, email, limited gaming, limited whatever else, it is still, in a lot of ways, a hobbyist OS because you do have to have that interest in doing the work on your system. You have to have that desire to keep it running and, in a lot of ways, to get it running because, in some cases, it does take that little bit of extra effort.
I would have to agree. Spatry, what do you say?
I'm going to definitely going along with what Jordan had just mentioned. Linux is definitely for the power user out there who wants to have complete control over their system. Now, there are a lot of distributions that are tailored towards beginners, where there is a lot of good quality control that's taking place behind the scenes, and they're making the best efforts to ensure that their operating systems will work on various platforms. I just looked at a distribution today that really had me fed up. And you guys will see that video up on my channel later tonight. It was just finishing rendering.
Okay.
I've had all these people request Comis 4. And I tried to install the beta. I could get that installed, but I couldn't get the guest editions working. Now I've got their latest edition. I couldn't even get that thing to install on my virtual machine. And I was like, it was a major headache. And I just, for the first time in one of my videos, I wanted to swear. And I actually cut that clip out, so see that on my channel. But I mean, I was really aggravated with it, and you could see it in the video. But I was really getting aggravated with putting this together. But Jordan mentioned that it was just a few lines that he had to put in to get his graphics card working. That's exactly the same thing I had to do on my Arch system, and now I'm not even using proprietary drivers. I think the stock Zorg drivers are wonderful for my machine, But the thing is, if you're going to get into an advanced operating system, you're going to really want to put the time into it, and a lot of people aren't willing to put in the time that's required to have a lightweight and fast operating system. More people would much rather shell out the $200, $300 for an operating system and then have a tech support number they can call and hopefully get somebody on the other end of the line that speaks proper English.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I've had those issues before. Don't get me started on that one.
Spatry, let me curse for you. Kiss my kernels. I guess that's good enough. So,
but I did quote you in the video. Stable or stable.
There you go. Let's just call it horse stable. But
that one's definitely Comies is definitely going into the Hall of Shame.
The Hall of Horse Stable. All right, gotcha. This is the way I see this comment, and he has somewhat of a valid, he or she, I'm not sure, and it is a valid point. This is how I see it. If you download a Linux OS that's designed for newbies, such as Zorn, Linux Mint, and even Ubuntu is getting there. Once you download it, update the entire system, with all the codecs and the updates, reboot. You should not have to configure anything. If all you would like to do is just browse the web, play your music, play your movie, you shouldn't have to configure anything. I mean, that's my opinion. Can you imagine if Windows was that way? You paid for something, downloaded, now you got to spend hours, trying to fine tune it. I don't think so. But to be fair with Linux, a lot of well, maybe not a lot, but quite a few OSs such as, Linux Mint, Ubuntu, and Zorn, they are getting to that stage where you really don't have to spend a lot of hours, if any, configuring. If all you want to do is just hop on the web, play your music, videos, Skype or Facebook or whatever, you should be good to go. And I think they have improved over the years. Any more than that, such like what we do, Skype, video editing, audio, and all that stuff. Linux can work, but you do have to spend the time, like you said, Google is your friend, finding the answers, fixing this, fixing that, fine-tuning this, tweaking that. You really don't have to do that much, at least, if at all, in Windows. That's why I dual boot, because if something doesn't work in Linux, such as the wonderful ATI drivers, I don't mess with it. I just delete it, the entire thing, go to Windows, do what I have to do, and just reinstall it. But that's just me. I have some patience, but I think I mentioned before that at this stage for me, if I refuse to spend hours trying to figure something out, and that goes in Windows too, by the way. I refuse to spend more than 59 minutes. I refuse to spend 60 minutes, which is an hour, trying to fix something if it's broken. I'll just delete the entire thing and start over. Unless it's something that, oh yeah, I remember the answer 6 months ago and it's there somewhere. I don't even give Windows that kind of luxury. If I download something and if it's corrupted or if my virus shield pops up with the warning, that's deleted immediately. I don't quarantine it. I don't try to fix it. It is deleted. But I'll give more time in Linux because it does require a little bit more patience, and that's fine. But at this stage for me now, if I'm messing, like you said, with Arch, or something like that, what's not really designed for newbies, of course you will spend time. It's required. But I don't think it's necessary for Zorn, Linux Mint, and Ubuntu 12.04 is shaping up to be great. As long as you do download all the proper updates and codecs, I think for most people who are not power users, I think you will be just fine.
Now, I'd like to point out that it will be 1 year next month since I made a transition over to Linux. And that was the one thing that attracted me, was the fact here I had bought a new compact laptop. Okay, it got infected with viruses, regardless of the antivirus protection. And at the time, I was using Avast, which was supposed to be one of the best free antiviruses out there.
It still is, yeah.
And but they still managed to get through in the JavaScript and everything. And I figured I'd just, try out Linux Mint. I saw this video from the Ozgoish show. And the thing that surprised me was the fact that everything worked right out of the box. I did not have to configure my sound card. I did not have to configure my video card. I was even able to get Compiz effects working easily. And that's something I had never seen a Linux distribution do before. And it's really cool that we're starting to see that these kind of things can happen. But, the problem people may run into is if they built their own machines.
Yes.
Now we may be seeing some potential bottlenecks, because I did try Ubuntu a couple years before on a box that I built myself.
Yeah.
And I was using some exotic, I was using another ATI card, but apparently it was too new of a model, and I couldn't get it working properly under Ubuntu at that time. But now it seems that newer hardware is starting to work fairly well with Linux. So it's good to see that there have been improvements made in that area.
Cool. I'm glad TWIL is on the show, because one of the, my channel, the inception for the channel really started, back in the winter of 2010. I wanted to get back in Linux, somewhat full-time. I had dabbled with it with Ubuntu version 6 something. I think it was back 2005, 2006, and it really wasn't quite ready for, really ready for prime time, so I kind of gave up on it. But I was, browsing the web, the blogs, and it seemed like Linux was getting better and better, for newbies and stuff, so I wanted to get back in it somewhat full-time, so I was scouring YouTube for some instructional vids, and they really just, it was either too much flash, or, too much jazz, or just, something wrong with the microphone or the video quality, and so on and so forth. And for me, it was just total BS. And of course, from total BS came total OS today. But I wanted to say this to TWIL, because one of the channels, or one of the set of videos that was done right that helped me out was the TWIL channel. You got right to the heart of the matter. Your videos were, you would add some, some graphics in the beginning, which is fine, but that wasn't the core attraction of your videos. It was, your new stuff, how to use Kden Live. I think you and I mentioned it last week, which is still a great, tutorial. But it was videos like that I was looking for, that just really weren't too many out there, at least the ones that I saw back then. And also, there weren't really any quality videos, at least that I saw, that were from a Windows user promoting Linux in a way that was, not condescending, user-friendly, call it as you see it, good or bad, for either operating system, whether it's Linux-based or Windows-based. And that's really how my channel started. So, and then Spatry, you started what, this past October?
Actually, I started in September 20th to be exact.
Ah, okay, great. So, great. But really, yeah, I wanted to forward this, this last comment to TWIL. Thank you for all your videos, because it has helped me out in the past. They're great, and I think they will stand the test of time. So.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, it really does mean a lot to hear that coming from someone that I do respect as much as you, and Spatry, of course, as well. I am actually intending to get back into it. I spend a lot of time working on it, but having to get life in order, of course. But yeah, making videos it's a lot of fun for me. It's a lot of time, though. So.
Well, yes. I mean, obviously have a family, a wife, and a kid, and of course you're in the process of getting a new house and all that. I've been there, done that. I know exactly what you were going through. Twill, if I remember, was it a year or a year and a half, we were messaging each other, and we used, I don't know why this pops into my head, but I think we used a football game as an analogy for life. Do you remember that? Where the life is the football game, but you're the referee. You call the time as you see it, or something like that. Am I nuts, or does that ring a bell?
It doesn't.
Okay.
Not offhand at the moment.
Okay. Well, we had some pretty good, PM conversation back then, but
yeah, we did.
Okay, yeah, but that popped into my mind. But I guess the point of this point is that I completely understand what you're going through, and it's, there are only so many hours in a day, and it's really a matter of priorities. So, yeah. But yes, thank you, Twill, for all the videos. They, like I said, they stand the test of time. They're quality videos. They get straight to the point. Yeah. Spatry, you're right there.
Yeah.
You have blown out a couple of my speaker monitors, which is screaming, but besides that, I'm okay.
Well, this is how I am in real life, though.
That's enthusiasm. That's character and personality coming right through.
Yeah, right. Right.
I'm like this in real life. I'll be talking about something and make funny faces, and I guess I don't know. I guess my Uncle Tom's influence rubbed off on me, but definitely, Jordan, I can't sing your show enough praises, because you were definitely an inspiration to me. And if it were not for you, there were a bunch of other show hosts, and when I was assimilating and learning Linux, Google was my friend, and anytime there was a video that came up in the search results, TWIL would come up, OzGUI would come up, Nixie Pixel would come up, and Sneaky Linux and a whole bunch of others would come up. Yeah. And I'd sit there and I'd watch their videos, and it was because of the content you guys have online that I was able to quickly assimilate this technology, and going along with a program that I participate in, that I also do volunteer work as well for. I feel that I should contribute something back for what I have freely received from Linux, and so that's why I decided I would get into doing my own videos and that sort of thing, because I found it to actually be a benefit that actually helps myself and helps me to retain that knowledge, by putting videos together. So.
Yeah, actually, it's not been too long ago. 2.5 years. The YouTube Linux scene was completely different. The grand majority of videos that you could find on there were people demonstrating running Compas, spinning the cube, and no audio, no anything. Just look at what my desktop can do, and that was about all there was to it. There were only some other channels like Jupiter Broadcasting, who are still doing it to this day, putting out high-quality content and actually doing a live stream at the same time, promoting Linux and putting a face and a voice to the Linux community and really helping to build it. And that's a large part of the reason why I started doing it was, one, I wanted to see some content out there with some actual voiceover to it, explaining what was going on and not just, look how pretty the fire is on my screen. And the other part of it, of course, was to... Jupiter Broadcasting does really, really great content, but there's not always a person that can sit down and listen for an hour at a time. So I like the idea of doing shorter videos myself, and that's why I started doing like 1, 2, 3 minute videos. Now I do like an 18-minute video that I uploaded today.
I caught your last one, Jordan. You said, okay, this will be just a quick 3-4 minute video, but it was 20 minutes.
I kind of facepalmed when I was editing that one. It was, it just keeps going. Stop talking.
I have to agree with you in that, because when I was doing a search on YouTube for Linux videos, there were all these videos that, all my pretty comp-his effects, no sound, how they even did it or whatnot. And then so finally I decided one day, you know what, I'm going to actually sit down and make a video series on how to do comp-his, and I think I did it in 2 parts, and each of the parts was 45 minutes. I actually went through the full shebang of what comp-his could do, and even then there were a few things I couldn't quite figure out on it, but at least now people know how to do it, if comp-his ever gets new life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned Nixie Pixel. Back then, she was actually doing good, instructional videos. Of course, now she's on the other, she's with the other company, which is fine. But back then, yeah, she was one that I thought did okay videos. As far as tutorials and stuff. Sure, yeah. You had mentioned, I think Jupiter Broadcasting.
Yeah.
I like their show. The guy who does the intro is Brian Lunduk. I love his intro. Today on the Linux Action Show. He has that, terrific introduction. But Spatry, I received a message not too long ago about they had a few weeks ago they had Richard Stallman on the show, and they were talking about freedom and software freedom, and he says this is from Detroit Player for Show. Hey there, Detroit Player. He says I guess he messaged you something about this would be a good debate for the Zoo Crew or A-Team about how would you define freedom or Linux freedom or software freedom. I think that would be a good topic, for an A-Team.
Yeah.
Topics like that normally get pretty heated, but yeah. Excellent topic. Lots of conversation generated from that.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I can see I definitely would have to filter all the conversation that's coming in because of all the choice words.
That's where the Zoo Crew become a zoo.
I'm all for it because I watched the Jupiter Broadcasting show, and he was on there. I think they had him for most of the show, which is fine. And I know, Stallman is somewhat of a guru as one of the founding fathers of the free software movement. Would that be a correct statement?
Oh yeah, he was. I've seen a few videos on it. He was one of the founders of the free software. I think he used to work on a project called GNU.
Yes,
still does.
He still does. Whereas obviously Terval's moved on and he's doing his own thing. I think he's just maintaining the kernel now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's doing anything else with it.
Well, I mean, if we do that particular Linux A-Team about freedom, quote unquote, I think, I've seen the show. Now I'll probably look at it again. Well, I've seen the interview on the show. You guys may want to take a look at it. A person like that who has contributed a lot to the open source community, I have a lot of respect for, but I differ with his views, worldviews. I don't know how else to say it, but towards the end of the show, he made a comment that blew my mind away. And you can see co-host Brian just looking at the monitor and his eyes and his facial expression saying, did I just hear what I thought he said? Basically what Mr. Stallman said was they were talking about freedom and how it relates to society, and jobs and the economy, and that's fine. I'm all for that. But he said something that, well, this is what he said. He said one of the ways to save planet Earth or to preserve its resources is for people not to have any more kids. And Brian's face was like, whoa, let me get this straight. Do you have kids? He says no. And then Brian's like, what the blankety blank does that guy? And I was just floored by the statement. Basically what he just was promoting was the complete evisceration of humanity, because if that was the case, in 100 years, there would be no humans left, which would, of course, solve all the ATI bug problems. But, I think stuff like that, or that kind of a topic, I think should be debated, not to blow it out of proportion. But you need to take a look at the interview. It was eye-opening for me. I agreed with most of what he had to say, but just, statements like that are like, I don't think so. Anyway, that's all I want to say on that. If you guys have something else to say, fine. So.
Well, actually, I follow Brian on Google Plus, and I read pretty much everything that he writes, and I actually followed his train of thought over the next 2 weeks as to his reaction. And basically, he completely jumped back at Stallman. I can't believe you believe this, and are you seriously saying, yeah? And really, his final thoughts on the subject, at least the last ones that I read, which I think were earlier this week, were Stallman is entirely entitled to his opinions. Whether I agree with them or not doesn't really matter, because realistically, it's not going to happen. You know, they're not going to pass some mandate that says you can't have kids. They're not going to pass some mandate that says all software has to be free. They're not going to say, you know, all source code must be provided. So, and realistically, and I don't really want to go into politics, but this could go into a lot of other facets of life for people to take this sort of realization that, you know, what one person believes and what one person says should not impact you, because it doesn't have anything to do with you, be it your sexual orientation, your skin color, your religious preference, whatever.
Yeah.
That's yours. That affects you and you alone. So move on. Sorry,
totally
that went ranty there, but
no, that's fine. I mean, look, it was a statement that created debate, somewhat shock, and you know, look, I think this is how I see. You know, this is how I see it. We are all fortunate enough to live in the country where we can voice our opinions and not be, you know, thrown in jail or worse for saying something, even if someone else may not agree with it. So I mean, you know, for that we are all lucky to be living here. Mm-hmm. But you know, I think some statements are somewhat questionable, should be open for debate, but certainly not for, you know, slander or any kind of vitriol, of course.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, getting back to the Linux 8 team, Spatry, until if you want to do it on that topic, I'm all for it. We would have to moderate it, you know, to a, you know, somewhat. But look, Linux-based operating systems is about freedom. So why not do a show on freedom, right? Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is. I don't think IG is going to be jumping in. Like I had mentioned before, I got a message that he might be able to, but he's in Australia with school and stuff, so I totally understand. Spatry, what are your future plans for your channel?
Well, right now I'm still continuing with the Saturday evening Zoo Crew podcasts, and I'm hoping we can still continue to have a team as well.
Yes.
I'd love to have Alan Pope again on the show.
Yeah.
It would be great. And pretty much I've been doing a little bit more with work, so I haven't been putting out quite as many videos as I've been known to put out. But any effort that any time that I can pull together to put up videos, I'll do that. I still have a bunch of requests that I haven't been able to fill out just yet.
Yeah.
But I'll eventually get to them. I absolutely love doing this. It's a lot of fun for me, and it gives me an opportunity to see what other distributions are out there, try them out. I like helping other people, and so every day I always get questions in my inbox, and I try my best to answer them. I don't always know the answers, though, so I at least try and point them in the right direction. And that sort of thing. And who knows where the show will take me. I've only been at this for about 6 months now, and I just hit 2,500 subscribers.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. And who knows where the show can take me, you know. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's a lot of fun, and it's well received for the most part. I get a few hecklers in the crowd, just like anybody else does, you know.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, these are people. You know, most of the people that I'm dealing with have a genuine interest in learning Linux and getting the most out of it, and I'm going to continue to contribute because this has really enriched my life in ways that, you know, Windows could never have done this. You know, and I've learned so much. Especially since switching to Arch Linux, I've learned more about how Linux works in just the past month or two than I've learned in all of my years of computing altogether. So, you know, and every day I've got my nose buried in the Arch Wiki. I'm always reading up new things, and I do research now before I accept any updates to my system for potential breakage. As a matter of fact, I just got an update to Compiz the day before yesterday, and I couldn't boot into my system, and I had to go on and find out what it was, and they've actually fixed that problem now. But so that's one thing, if you want to run a nice Arch system, you got to read the documentation. You got to read it regularly.
You really like Arch, don't you?
I love it. If it were to break today, I would be rebuilding. I definitely would set some time aside to rebuild it because I'll tell you what, I'll probably get a few years out of this laptop that I bought, and not have to worry about buying another piece of hardware because I've just never seen an operating system perform this quickly on this computer, and I can't sing it enough praises.
How many hours realistically have you spent from start to finish building your Arch system the way that that you want it?
Well, it took me when I first started this venture with Arch, I just had so many requests from my subscribers asking me to try it, and I figured, okay, I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to do this. And each attempt, I was able to get it installed and running. But because I did not sit down and read the documentation to the letter and follow it step by step, I ended up having to start all the way over again.
Yeah.
Pop in the live USB, reinstall it, and start from scratch all over again. 13 tries later, I finally got it right. But this time, I've got a backup of all of my configuration files. I've got a backup of my mirror lists, my RC config files, all those little files that you have to manually edit at the time that you install it. I have a backup of every one of those files so that if I ever had to rebuild my Arch system and just reinstall from scratch, I could actually get my system up and running in 2 hours now.
Okay.
I actually timed it, but that's because I have those configuration files all backed up.
Right.
My bash profiles. I mean, I've done some really cool things with my bash prompts and everything, and I've got all of that stuff backed up.
Okay.
So that all I have to do is just do a fresh install, and then download my compiz, download my OpenBox, and then just slap those files where they belong and zip them up and running.
I have an idea. Welcome back to Sparky's Cup of Arch. Or maybe not. Today on Spatry's Cup of Linux. TWIL, me and Spatry toyed with the idea of do something completely different. Spatry would be me, for like an intro. He would say something like, today on the show, we have a terrific lineup of guests, and me doing him, today on Spatry's Cup of Linux, not yesterday, but today. Blah, where's my coffee? But anyway.
Welcome to yet another spectacular episode of Total OS Today.
Alrighty then, thank you for that wonderful, oh crap, I just spilled my coffee, wonderful introduction from Spatry from South America, Florida, they're in Coffee Bean Land, and TWIL must be thinking, am I on the same show? No, but we were just...
You do realize this would take a handful of Valium to keep me at this voice for a long period of time.
Folks, this is what happens behind the scenes, and I will not be editing this. No. TWIL, what are your...
Taking a step back, I missed something earlier. When you were talking about having Alan Pope on the Zoo Crew or on the A-Team, I can't remember which one. That's one of the things I really enjoy about the Linux community. When you go to just about any other community, big YouTubers, and I'm using big old air quotes here, or celebrities or whatever else, you've got this distance. You don't really feel like you're a part of that same community. You don't feel like you're on the same tier as they are. But in a lot of ways, people in the Linux community are very easy to approach. They're very easy to talk to, and in a lot of ways, though, they're more than willing to work with you because they are, in most cases, volunteering their time. Like you saw, Alan Pope, very easy to talk to and get on your show. if you really tried, you could probably get like John O'Bacon, the community manager for Ubuntu, George Castro, who I can't remember exactly what he does, but really nice guy. I've talked to him at a few Linux conferences. And from the other communities, there are people from the Fedora community that I'm sure would love to get on and talk. I was supposed to have an interview with Jared Smith, the Fedora project lead, a while back, and it just never came to fruition. It's just a matter of approaching them and saying, hey, I do this on a blah, blah, blah basis. Would you be willing to come on for a half an hour and talk? Most of the time they will, just because they are promoting their product, they're promoting the community, and they are extremely willing to help in that aspect.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I would totally agree. I actually posted one of the videos I posted, which community is more friendly, Windows, Linux, and I got a various, very type of answers. And I guess some of the best comments, well, they can both be just as friendly or just as mean as they want to be. Personally, I haven't had any issues with either Linux or Windows, although to be honest, it's been a while since I've gone to a Windows community because I just haven't had that many issues in Windows 7. But with XP and Vista, I remember going, and I do remember getting replies back when fairly quickly. But I look, probably in the long run, Linux is probably better when you need to ask a question and getting something fixed probably promptly. Not to take any away, from Windows communities. I'm sure they can be just as friendly. But one thing I do like about Linux is the open, open community, if you will. So TWIL, I guess, what are your plans for the, for your future, for the channel, or,
For the immediate future, I'm going to try to take whatever time I have to make content here and there, maybe some quick tutorials or some distro reviews if I can work that out.
Right.
Once I'm actually settled in the new house and I've got my new office set up, hopefully that will free up some more time for making more consistent content. That's really one of the keys to growing a channel on YouTube, from what I understand, is quality, consistency, and just scheduling. So if you can always put something out on a Friday, always put something out on a Monday, whatever, then your viewers know what to expect. They know the quality to expect, and that they will keep coming back for it, and they'll tell their friends about it in a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in my case, once I get the opportunity to get back into it, that's what I would like to do. I actually tried to schedule out a while back, and it's difficult, but if you can invest the time early on and actually pre-record videos, like tutorials, especially distro reviews, it will become significantly easier because you've got that queue built up where you can just pump them out on a schedule, and then the ones that are time sensitive, do them at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I really would like to get back to.
Yeah, for me, it's been a wonderful, ride for 2 years. And really for me, when I do these videos and tutorials, and random stuff, to me, how I define freedom for me, as far as, these vids in Linux, it's really, the ability to express myself, by using Linux or these vids as a vehicle, to share my views and opinions. There was a wonderful documentary movie on Spike TV about the life and death of martial artist Bruce Lee, and I believe the movie's called I Am Bruce Lee. You need to check it out if you haven't seen it. Terrific documentary about, someone who, went through, struggles here in the country, through racism, trying to, as Bruce said in that interview, the martial arts for him was a way to honestly express himself, regardless, of nationality, Chinese, black, white, and so on and so forth. He's my childhood hero back when I was a kid. But, in that vein, doing this channel, these, podcasts and whatnot, is just a way to express myself. And that's how I define freedom. And it is a form of expressing myself. At least that's how I see it. Without getting too, Confucius and philosophical here, but that's how I define freedom. And that's why it's so much, enjoyable and, fun for me. And if we ever do, a Linux A team on freedom, that's going to be my definition of freedom as far as that goes. But, it has been 2 years, thoroughly enjoyable, fun. I've learned a lot. from the various YouTubers, including, of course, Spatry and TWIL and so on and so forth. Hopefully next time we'll have, we will do a Linux 18 and get more guests on the show and get as many on as possible. I did mention last week it's going to be virtually impossible to get everybody on at the same time from different time zones. I just don't see it happening. Quid's PM, he wants to get on, but I believe his next weekend off is towards the end of April. So, but that being said, that's all I have to say for my 2-year anniversary. Do you guys have any closing comments?
Well, I'd like to say if you want to try something like what we've been doing with the Zoo Crew, we've been getting much better sound quality over the Mumble sound servers, and Voltan from the Linux distro community, the founder, has actually given me the privilege of being able to host these shows on there. So we could actually set something up to where we can make an announcement. Okay, this is when the show is going to be. I'll even make the posters and all this stuff for it.
Okay.
And then we can have a room where all of our subscribers can actually join in and listen to the show as it's being taped, and they can be sending their comments into the IRC chat.
Okay.
We can be monitoring them, and I can say that it's a wonderful experience because, especially as the conversation is going along, somebody may bring up something to add to the conversation that will just bring a little bit more flavor into it.
Right.
And that can be brought up and that sort of thing. And it's a great way for our subscribers to interact as well. And I would highly recommend that we consider using that medium. And I've actually gotten really good at cleaning up the audio for the most part on the recorded data and that sort of thing. So that's something that we may want to consider. And what I'll go ahead and do is I'll simulcast this discussion, and I will have all of that information in the show notes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You know what, guy? I just love this family of Linux users. Like you guys are my extended family, and you guys are the freaking best. Let me tell you, coming from New York, you guys are awesome, like family.
Hey,
So, yeah.
As long as I don't end up with a horse head in my bed, I'm all good.
No. Look, Jordan.
No.
No, Spatry, you okay? Calm down, boy. Calm down. No, Jordan, that's in the horse stable. No. I already called Sicily. I talked to Guido Montanzano. That's been taken care of. Don't worry about it. On that high note or low note, depending on your point of view, I want to thank my friends, my guests, for my 2-year birthday here on the Tostoday channel.
Here's to 2 more years.
Here.
Congratulations, Cindy.
Thank you. It's been fun. You guys are awesome. Keep it up. Let's do this again, and definitely more videos in the future coming your way from TWIL, Spatry, the Linux 18, the stable, the horse stable, but not the horse is dead. Keep that to yourself, please. Okay. Thank you, Spatry. Thank you, TWIL. Love all you guys. You know me. I'm Tostoday, Total OS Today, or Toast, however you want to call me. Thank you for listening to this special TosCasts podcast, and on behalf of my guest, I will catch all of you sometime in your Linux future. Ciao.